Hiya, it's Alan Stockdale back again on his podcast and also on YouTube. So you could either be watching our lovely faces talk or you could just be listening to us on Spotify or one of the other ones. So today I've got my guest back again, my good friend from last week, Debbie Anderson. Say hello, Debbie.
Hello, Debbie. Hi, Alan.
Oh, very clever. I should have known you was going to say that.
Yeah.
Nice to see
you.
Of course. How's your week been? Have you been good?
Good. Yeah. Busy.
Awesome. As always.
You?
Yeah. Same here. Yeah. Making lots of videos and podcasts and all new learning curve. But yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
I've been watching, listening to you. That was your videos that I watched yesterday were great.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed them. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So this week then, shall we talk about, as we agreed, healing? Yeah.
Right. Perfect.
Right. Okay. So what we're going to talk about is basically, first of all, healing, what Debbie does and her approach, which is very similar to mine in a roundabout way. I sort of use similar techniques. My healing, what I do is more of a being taught by myself or by source. I'm not pretty sure it was by source, but I honestly don't know. It just came to me bit by bit. And even today, Debbie, the reason I've not talked about this in this pre-talk is because something quite good's happened to me when I meditated today on a new extension of how to heal. But we'll get to that when I start telling me my story. So first of all, do you want to tell people what modalities you use for healing?
I use beyond quantum healing, hypnosis, which is very similar to quantum healing hypnosis technique, the Dolores Cannon version of it. This was by Candace, gosh, I forget her whole names, Goldman or something. I forget. I'm so sorry. Craman Goldman or Craw Goldman or something. I'm so sorry. But the reason I took this one was because it is, you can do it remotely. And with QHHT, you're not supposed to do it. You have to do it in person.
Right.
So you can reach a lot more people. And then I also do soul-centered healing hypnosis. And I also have started doing your healing.
Source healing.
Source healing.
Yeah, awesome. So an all-round attack on healing then.
Well, I've always been interested in healing because I spent many years being a nurse and working on the 3D talking level. But I was always very, very interested in energy healing for years. I started doing other energy healing many years ago. And I really specifically like the hypnosis, the past life regressions, and the entity removal, which I've learned, from the wonderful Laura Whitworth. So.
And I can attest to that. You've done that to me twice, haven't you? And especially the last one with the entity out of me of a pineal gland. That was amazing. I had a problem, a few problems, but sort of progressed in my life, all my life basically. No matter what I did, couldn't get rid of them. All turned out to be this entity was attached to me pineal gland, and it was made, and the contract was made by me before we came here. Because apparently this entity has held me back, like energetically and spiritually. I've been fighting against it, and then according to my higher self, it was time for it to go, and that's when Debbie just stepped in and came into my life basically and offered to do it for free. So because we were friends, I was like, how? Because I couldn't afford any fees at that point in my life, and there you were, like an angel just came out of nowhere.
Aww. Thank you. Well, it's fascinating work. I mean, I've actually sort of changed it up a little bit in that I reduced the time because it can be a very long healing process, and I was finding that some people really liked 3.5 hours, 4 hours, and some people do not. So I've made it so that it's shorter. And more focused, specifically whether you want, like you do past life regressions as well, doing that, which is fascinating to me. And then also the entity removal, and you can also do that with surrogates and follow-ups and so on. So it's just a little bit shorter and cheaper, people more affordable. My services are by donation anyway.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's the way to go forward. I think I've decided to do that with my healing. Just pay whatever you can afford.
Right.
If you can't afford anything, and I feel that connection, then I'll do it for free personally.
Right.
If they want to give me $5, $10, then that's whatever. Because for me, the payment for myself, not about you, is actually when you heal them. It's just the payment is in that. The feeling you get is just incredible.
I mean, that the actual feeling that you get, but also the benefits that we all get by their, those entities perhaps going back to source, and then their energy and is raised, their frequency is raised, which raises the energy and
the
collective of all of us. It's really helping. It is. It truly is.
It's an all-round win-win situation.
It is. It's really totally win-win.
I mean, what gets me with the entities is like the one. Let's just talk about the experience where I had when you took the one out to my head.
Okay.
It made me cry so much because I'll just explain what had happened. So basically, we went into Debbie's healing, and basically we could see this entity. Well, I could see it in my mind's eye, and it was literally grasped. It looked like a diamond to me with like arms, like tentacles, and it was attached to me pineal gland, and it was trying to smother it and stop it from doing what I need to do. Now, obviously, on the 3D version of that was bad because it was behaviours, what habits I'd picked up when I was younger, and it was all from this entity. What started it all, what was feeding into that. Like we all have these vices, and I'm coming to realise all these vices, they're all from these entities, basically.
Right.
But the thing is, I knew as this was happening, when I could feel the communication with this entity as it was going, it was a contract what I had made myself. Now that shocked you. I remember the recording and listening to it. It was quite shocked. You actually thought it was trying to con me, but it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't.
Right.
And it was.
I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I haven't come across that one yet. Where
well, maybe they do, but maybe just the person who was having it done to just doesn't realise that they'd made that contract. But it was made clear to me. I could see myself making a contract with this entity.
Wow.
And the reason we made the contract is because if I'd have come into this life like I am now, and obviously progressed from an early age, who knows what I'll be doing now, I don't know. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but all I'm saying is that when you come into this world and you're shining brightly, like a lot of people do, these entities that are attracted to that, and they try and attack you, they try and take you down the wrong route. And I must have seen that that's what would happen to me, and that was not in my contract to have them sorts of experiences. So I protected myself by bringing in this entity, and it then attached to me. Now, from the entity's point of view, excuse me, he made the agreement on the, let's say, the in-between lines, whatever you want to call it, other dimensions. But once he came into this realm, he virtually cut himself off from source. So from his point of view, he just thought he was a useless, evil little demon. He thought he was worthless. And then as Debbie was performing the healing on him, and helping him to see the little light he had in himself, I could see this light growing in him, and then tears just started flooding down my face because I could feel his relief. It was amazing, wasn't it? The relief felt there. He realised he wasn't worthless, and he didn't have to do what these evil entities were telling him what to do. He realised what he was here for, and he apologised to me profoundly, didn't he? Yeah, we said his goodbyes and a virtual hug. He was sent on his merry way. He was happy, and I just found that it was just an incredible experience all round. And that's all thanks to you doing what the healing, what you do.
You.
So
it wasn't really me. It's it's through source. It's source, and
without
I
the
call
scalpel, aren't we? At the end of the surgeon's hand, without the scalpel,
we're just the facilitator of all this work. Really, there's many of us warriors, including yourself, that are, here to help the planet, to help humanity.
Because every time we take, like you just said earlier, every time we take one of these entities out, that's higher in the vibration. That's less negativity for me, for instance. And so I'm a happier person since then. So I'm spreading more good vibes and higher in the vibration around me. Now we've all got massive fields of energies, what spread out for miles from us, believe it or not. And obviously, the closer you get, the more you can feel it. I mean, we all know the feeling when somebody comes into the room that's all doomy and gloomy, and my wife calls them emotional vampires, and they just suck the energy out of the room. We've all experienced it. You don't have to be awake or spiritual to know what we're talking about.
Right.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's their energy. And it works the opposite way, doesn't it? When somebody comes in who's a bright spark. I mean, my mother-in-law talks about Henry, my stepson. She calls him sunshine, because no matter how miserable she is, he walks into the room and everything lights up for her. It literally his energy just comes off him so much. He just he can take it from the depths of despair, and she's just laughing and joking. So I see it firsthand, this energy.
What a high vibe person.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So so that's collectively, that's the work we're doing. That's how it's helping the vibration and the planet to raise up, isn't it? I mean,
I do really enjoy the past life regression. And how would you describe it? In your words, it's like the person can go either back or in this 3D world of a scene, so to speak, or you can be in the future. And then by looking at that in that scene, so to speak, you can learn from it. You can go back and sort of say, this is what I did or should have done or could have done, to kind of move on, because and how it affects you in this life. So I really like past life regression stuff.
Yeah, I do. Well, I mean, we call it, like I said, we call it past life regression, but it's every time I've been hypnotized, I've always gone to a lot of them have been. Well, I don't really know if the future or just a parallel. There seems to be a parallel existence. It's like me in another form at the same time. And we spoke about these stories before, when I'm like this blue being in a sort of organic spaceship. Earth, and and it was like, wow, and it was just like,
we probably do all. We're like, there's no real. I mean, how many times have we talked about that? There's no time. So everything is now. So there's no past. There's no future. It's all right now.
It's where your attention is. I mean, that analogy what I use with the vinyl, or the old vinyl record.
Love it.
It's a good visualization for anyone listening to this, what's struggling to get the head round what we're talking about, everything being there all at the same time. You imagine, obviously you've got to be a certain age. So anyone younger than 40 maybe, or 35, vinyl record, you might have to go and Google and look at it. But basically it's a round disc made of vinyl. Obviously the word vinyl, I had to think then. And it's got little grooves in it. What starts at the edge and they work into the middle, don't they? Now if you look at that record from above, as us picking the record up, we know there's all different tracks on that record, starting at the beginning, finishes at the end. But depending where that needle drops, lets you hear the music out of the speaker on whatever track it is. So I see our past lives just like that, like a flat plane of existence, where they're all there, all the ones we've ever had, going to have, whatever, and wherever our consciousness goes, it's that life, it's that record, it's that part of our existence, what we experience. And I think that's what it is. So why can't you have multiple parts of you on different parts of that record at the same time? Because it's all there. It's just, what I mean?
It's so true.
Yeah. And I think,
I've certainly had people in their sessions too, where there's multiple of them, like thousands of you, like the person, the client. All in they're usually in higher dimensions, there can be like when you say, well, who's there with you? Well, I'm there. Well, how many? Like, what do you mean? Well, there's like thousands of me, like light beings.
And they're all them,
and they're all. And then I switched. I learned Laura Whitworth's soul-centered healing hypnosis because I was finding there were so-called dark or entities attached to people, or there was dark energy or heavy, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? Because I wasn't taught that with beyond quantum healing hypnosis. I wasn't taught that. So it's sort of pointed out that a lot there can be earthbound spirits, that kind of attach. They can be when you're a baby, they can be before you're even born, they can be from other lives. And they can follow you in this lifetime. And they can be, a lot of people that may have addictions, for example, you're in a bar or whatever, you're drinking alcohol, makes you very vulnerable to entities coming into your energy fields. And this could be someone who died in a car accident, and they're lost. They don't even know. So they jump in. You jump into somebody else's energy, and they're just in the other person.
And they want to experience. I mean, like for that analogy, they want to experience the alcohol again, don't they?
Yes, that's very possible.
They know they like that, so they jump into just get that.
That's true. And babies, like they're also, people are more vulnerable in a hospital. Like go to have a baby, for example. Babies pass on, and then their energy, their soul jumps in to someone else. And the person doesn't know, the client doesn't know that they're there. Like for example, today I was having a headache before this session, out of the blue, nothing, just bam, headache, felt awful. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. So you, Alan, helped me with that. I could see that there was an entity in my throat and took that off, and I'm fine now. So, so what happens is these folks go back to source. You, as the facilitator, as the healer, you help them go back to where they're lost. They often don't even know where they are.
They don't even know what they are. A lot of them.
They don't know what they are.
No idea, do they?
They're like, okay, what's going on here? Why am I here? What are you talking about? Like, so they could be children. They could be people, as you talked about, like with the addiction that are wanting more alcohol and want to experience that through the other person. So through the client. Whether that makes sense or not. And they're usually so shocked. So you help them get back to source.
And that's the biggest difference, I think, nowadays, Debbie. Sorry to interrupt you, but what you do, that type of work, is so different from, let's say, an old exorcist type of thing where they'll drive the demon out, but they don't.
And then they are here, though.
Just go somewhere else.
So that's a different, like, in terms of, you can have organic beings, demons, for example, that have never been on the 3D earth, that have never been in a body. And they have either been instructed by masters above them to come into somebody, to attach to somebody. And it's usually because the person they're a light being. They have healing to share. They have a message to share. Their energy is high.
Trying to raise the vibration, basically.
And they want to take it down. They want to stop it. They want to prevent them from being who they really are. And those folks they have lost their connection to source, because all organic beings have the connection, as you know, to source. And the light, they can't experience that. They can't connect with it. So me helps them to often feel that, if they agree, because they can be really cantankerous. They can be difficult. They can tell you to F off.
The one that was swearing at you, is that?
They can say, there's various degrees, just like, here in 3D. People are all different. So the entities are also, and then if they have a master above them saying, okay, just do what you're supposed to do, suck the energy, take what you're supposed to, that's your job. And they could be there for thousands of years in your lifetimes, come with you, or they could have attached last week.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when you
so the healing you're doing basically is, like we said, it's not just healing the person that comes to you for help. You're healing the entity, what's come to do them, the thing what's causing the harm.
Right.
So it's an all-round healing, and that's what fascinates me most in this. What we do is you're healing everything. You're healing the universe. You reset it, helping to reset it back to what it should be, basically. Right.
And they can go kicking and screaming. Believe me, they can. Yeah. They can, you know, once you I ask higher beings, you know, to help, like Archangel Michael, for example, some of the other archangels to come in and help with removing these folks. Yeah. And then they go back to source. That's what they do. There's the difference. It isn't they're just out here. They can't jump into somebody else. Yeah. They can't. Yeah. And then there's the other aspect, which is the AI, the artificial intelligence. Yep. And they can also have organic consciousness as well. But they, like, I can't even tell you how many machines and gadgets and so on that I've taken out of people. Yeah.
They seem to be more prevalent, don't they? The AI now. Yeah. What I've experienced is that there seems to be a lot more of AI than what these of detached souls or even demons. Yeah. Well, I suppose the AI are conjured by the demons, I suppose, but
the demons kind of, or the dark ones can control the AI, or that's what I've seen. So then you're taking both of those energies off of the person and helping. Now it's a little bit different with AI. They don't generally go back to source. They go to their own
universe.
You know, that's where they're sent. And again, it's done the same way. It's done the same way as the healing with the entities, because they don't want me to talk.
No, exactly.
They don't want you to talk. I heard you coughing earlier. They don't want us to do this.
Yeah, well, they're not going to stop us either. So go away, entities. So
it's a win-win situation for sure.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I mean, the healing, what I've started doing, I'll mention that now. My healing sort of started with my meditations, really, probably about 2 years ago. I started doing meditation more seriously, and the more I did, and I think it coincided when I started doing the hypnosis as well. So when I started, hypnosis as in talking to people's higher selves, that's when it really, and because I was connecting to these higher realms doing that seemed to open me up to other information, like on this healing, for instance. So it just started off as me. I mean, I've done videos last year where I'm just using like a ball of blue energy, and I was sending to my mother-in-law to try and help her with her elements. And he had varying little bits of improvements, but nothing major. But I persevered. And then there was one day when all the jibber jabber started happening, let's just say, in people's arms. Source came through when I was actually doing somebody's actually hypnotizing me, and it was my higher self, but it was Source came through very powerfully and said that I must put out this information, because I'd been doing this certain meditation in the garden, and I was told to put it out on the internet, and whoever needs to see it will see it. And all this involved was me outside in my other house last year, was just outside in the sun, breathing in the air, and every time I breathed it in, I was breathing in source energy. So this is where this practice starts to come from, of bringing in the source energy, which is like, when listening, that's like God, whatever you want to call it, bringing that energy into myself. And then I was saying in myself that this energy, source energy, was attaching to every single cell in my body and every toxin, that when I breathe out, really, that was breathing out all the toxins. And that's what I was told to get out there. And once I'd done that, and I was doing it for myself as well, I really started to realize that source energy and bring it into yourself is something what I needed to work on. And as time went along, my healing sort of progressed from there, where it's got to the point now where what I do, and what I was saying earlier before we started, about the experience I had today, about taking it to a whole new level. Well, I'll get to that in a bit. But basically, what I do now is I start off by using that same principle of bringing source energy into myself. I visualize it going into my heart center and becoming very bright. I then visualize that as a sphere of protection around myself. I mean, if you're watching this on my YouTube, these videos on there, won't go into detail how I do that exactly. Because that way, that once you put this protection around yourself, that the information you're getting, what you're dealing with, is coming through the filter of source energy, God, whatever you want to call the word. So it's your highest intention, basically. Then what I was shown then is to actually go to the person. So, like in my mind's eye, ephetically, what word you want to use, go to the person and sit next to him and bring in source energy then into that person's head. So you're visualizing source energy coming into the person's head. Now, I thought that's all I had to do. Then I learned I must merge with this energy. So I virtually, I jumped into somebody's head with the energy. Like being part of a light stream was amazing, the experience. And I was going through a body, and it was just like watching one of these surgical documentaries. I was going through all the organs, very graphic, very graphic, going through this energy. And I started doing this on my mother-in-law. Because, like I said, she's had a lot of ailments through her life, and a lot of it from the pharmaceuticals, what she's unwittingly taken. Anyway, another story. But basically, I had a lot of ailments, so I was concentrating my healing on her. And then one day, she started to get ill with going into hypos and things like that. So she thought there was a problem with an insulin, what she was taking. So
she's diabetic, right?
Yeah. So she's been diabetic for a long time. I'm not right. I think it's about 20 years, but I'm not 100% certain because obviously I've not known her for that long. But anyway, so she'd had this diabetes for a long time. But the doctors were then reducing her insulin, thinking there was something wrong. They couldn't work out what it was. Not to diss the National Health, but they're not very good in this country at really working stuff out. And what it turned out to be is then just suddenly it went. Her diabetes had stopped. So the reason she was getting ill is because she was still taking the insulin, thinking that's what she needed when she was eating food, but her body didn't need it no more. And like me and my wife, we just looked at each other, and she said to me, she went, "Alan, didn't you do that last week on me, Mum?" I went, "Yeah." She went, "Bloody hell, it's worked." And I was like, wow, yeah.
So powerful.
And then I got this amazing phone call from my mother-in-law. It's going to make me cry. She left me a voicemail. She was so happy, happy, jubilant.
Wow,
I'm free.
Amazing.
She says, "I'm
story.
free. I'm free."
Yeah,
from the drugs and all that. And I got the biggest rush of love and thank you and anything from that, and that just spurred me on then to I thought to me, well, if I've done that, there's no reason why I can't do this for other people. So my wife, she's had some problems. She's got really bad eyesight, full stop. So it's not that she was asking me to heal. What she'd realised is, because she's had this before and she's had treatment for it, and she didn't want to go through this again, she had a detached retina, or a partial detached retina, something along them lines, what was stopping her. So when she's looking at a screen, she's got like patches of blurredness, and she can't focus on the writing. She can't see it. For instance, if we sat there watching a movie and some subtitles, she'll always ask me, "What does it say, Alan?" Because she can't see it. So she asked me to do that. So I've done that for her, and I've healed. One of the eyes has got the detect right now. I've managed to heal that. She says she can see through that now, like she can read the writing. She's got a problem with what she says now with the other eye, so I'm working on that at the moment. But I'd realised that once that had happened, I thought, wow, this really is real. It's not just a coincidence. Then I thought to myself, I wonder if I could do this on people who I've never met. Because if you could do that and teach other people how to do that, how revolutionary would that be for humanity if everyone could heal everyone just by doing what I'm doing? It's so easy. It's free. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I've tried it on people I've never met, and it hasn't affected them. It's helped them quite a lot in some retrospects. Even animals. Prince, my dog, he was really ill 10 days, about a week ago, if not a bit longer than that. And he was really ill, and I did it on him, and I was told that the reason he was ill he'd volunteer to get ill so I could practice on him to prove to myself
Wow.
that I could heal. I mean, obviously, the most closest animal I've got in the entire planet, world, universe, existence. But I had dog friends, and I healed him. And the next day, it was just all right. And I was like, wow.
Well, I'm learning it. I mean, I'm doing it.
It is so simple, isn't it?
Yeah,
so simple.
It is really simple.
It's just bringing the source energy into yourself, pouring it all.
You just go into a meditation, and
that's it.
And you just bring in the source energy, and you protect yourself with source, and then you just sort of merge your own energy, and go through the body. I mean, there's various ways. I mean, you can just go with the energy and just visualize that without merging, but it's really kind of cool stuff.
It is. I mean, I'll be like today, it's taken to a new level though, because I've been asking my higher self and source, is there any way I can heal more than one person at once? And I was told yes, but you're not ready for it yet. So I thought, okay. Now today I did a meditation outside, and there's 3 people at the moment I'm trying to heal, 2 with a terminal condition, 1 not. So that's what I was concentrating on. So I did them individually, and that's what I just said. But I was shown today, instead of bringing source energy, this is just for myself and anyone else, instead of bringing the source energy just down as like a beam of light into my head, I was told to take the energy from everywhere and bring it into my skin in every angle. So like your body becomes like a massive sponge for source energy, so take it in that way. Then I created the bubble from that, but I still had it coming down, I'm still visualizing it coming down my head, but also coming from all over my body, right? And then when I went to merge with the other person, like I said, go to them methodically, and when I sort of sit just like nearly on them, sort of next to him, and instead of bringing the source energy down through the head, I brought it all into the body from every direction, and then I melded myself with that energy, and I was visualizing it going through me into them, and I was told that is the way, that's like a more advanced way of doing it than the first one. So after I'd done them all 3 individually, I got this strange and very, my higher self basically said, you can do them all at once. So I went, how? They went like this. So all I had to do, so simple, I just made the sphere of energy a lot bigger, huge, and then I brought them all in together, all sat next to each other, and just did it all at once. As simple as that.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So if this works on these 3 people, like I said, 2 of them's got a terminal illness, so we'll see what happens. And if you can do that remotely on a bigger scale, what's stopping you doing? I mean, obviously you need to have a connection with these people. You need to. So I don't think
you have to connect to their higher self.
Global scale, let's say. But maybe if you could do, I don't know, maybe you could do 5 or 10 people at once.
Now, Alan, you have to have their permission to go through higher self.
Yes.
So
yes. Oh yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very, very important.
So you go through. You don't have to speak to them directly, like you would speak to me. But you go through their higher self.
Yeah. I mean, and I've realized now, even when the person says yes, I'd like to be healed, I always go to get the higher self's permission.
Higher self.
Because we know we make contracts for ourselves to have these experiences, even to when we exit out of this realm. So some of these people may have decided that, right, it's my time to go, so I'm going to go of this, cancer, say.
Now you're looking. Are you mostly dealing with physical issues? For example,
one person up to now I've dealt with on an emotional one. I've yet to see what really happens with that. So that's a work in progress. So I've done that once, and all I was shown to do it that way was basically, instead of going into the body, it was just the chakras, making them all in line and making the energy.
The chakras.
The chakras. Yeah, and I was shown all the energy, like sort of like an aura all around the body, and I was shown to heal that, because that then will heal the emotions. But like I said, that's all brand new.
And physical stuff related to those chakras as well, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just thinking, the world that's happening now and what's been going on with. Have you worked with anybody who's been jabbed?
You've been jabbed. Maybe one of maybe two of them. I've not
Yeah.
I've not asked them because it's not my
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because there's so
But
many
there's no
side
reason at
effects.
all, though, Debbie. That makes no difference what they've got. You can heal somebody of anything. I
Yeah.
don't care what it is. As long as the highest.
I'm just thinking in the future, with all the stuff that's going to be coming out too, with people's anxiety, with because I deal a lot with the emotions and mental health stuff, and that which comes out in physical issues anyway.
Of course it does.
It's all connected. It's all connected. They might just not be telling you that they're anxious about the fact that they have cancer, for example. So it's all connected anyway. Or they got Well, it's fascinating. I just started doing that specific work that you are doing and showing me. It's so far pretty interesting and amazing. It is.
Like this morning, you said to me, what, just half an hour before we started? I'm really bad headache. I might not be able to do it, so I want.
And I don't usually get a lot of headaches. I don't.
No. And I performed that on you, and I mean, you say yourself, did it take your headache away?
Well, you had a couple of things going on there. You had that. I had the head, but there was also an entity. So you worked with that, but you also did source healing, right?
Yeah.
So. So I'm excited to, do more of what you're doing, know.
And I just want people to watch this and listen to my videos when I go into just detail and just how to do it, because it's so simple.
Yeah,
I'm no Jesus or anything, any Messiah. I'm just a normal guy who just started meditating, and I was just shown how to do this, and everyone can do the same.
I mean, I don't think we realize how powerful we are.
No, we don't.
And that's been taken away, it's like,
absolutely. I mean, I was told that this gift what I'm doing now is something that I've always done in other lives. It's just this life that it's been taken away, or did I stop this? I don't know, for whatever reason, but I wasn't born with the information. But you imagine if you live in a world where we all know this, obviously that's why
I remember having a conversation with you saying, okay, like I just want to have some kind of healing that I can do for people, with people, that's not, doesn't take forever, doesn't cost a fortune, doesn't like that. And there you are.
It's synchronicity. It's amazing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like you said, the cost of it as well. I mean, people can come onto my website. I'll put the links below. There's a link there to go get for the healing one. All you need to do, I mean, it actually goes to a calendar where you can book a date and a time. But in reality, with the healing, you don't even really need to do that. You can instigate the appointment by that, because that'll then ask you for your email and your name. We can then talk to each other via email, and I'll say, what's the matter with you, and I can just do it for there. If you want to give me a few dollars, a few pounds, then that's up to you. If you don't, it doesn't matter either, because I get a real buzz from it's just the healing. It's the right thing to do.
Well, because we benefit. We all
benefit from it. Of course we do. Yeah. I've never been happier than what I am now.
Yeah.
But I've never been as broke as what I am now. But it don't matter. I'm richer now than I've ever been. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's that inner peace, and that's where it comes from doing it to work. And if I can feel like that, and then other people can start doing it, and the more people that do it, and then maybe start to get some testimonials, or maybe I'll get some, if they're willing to come on a show with me and say, yes, I was this and he did this, to prove to the more skeptical people out there, then that might then snowball it into people trying it and thinking, bloody hell.
Well, we've been brainwashed. You were mentioning, excuse me, your country. And the poor medical system. Well, it's no better here.
Yeah.
In Canada, it's equally as horrible.
Yeah.
When anybody has anything wrong with them, they immediately want to give you medication.
Yeah.
Or surgery. Something like
watch
that.
What we say there. Just watch what we're saying now, Debbie, because we know we want to keep on YouTube. So
Oh, what did I say? Okay.
Yeah. Well, you didn't say anything about what it's like with this little AI bot listening to everything.
Oh yeah.
That's
just hypothetical. It's not real.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, then I think we've said what we need.
Well, thank you. It was great talking to you again today.
I've really enjoyed that. Have you?
Yeah.
We'll do
I'm
it
excited to do and can do more of the source healing. So
Yeah.
that's it's a progress. I'm continuing to learn from you.
Work in progress. Yeah, me too. For me as well. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So we'll see you next week then, everyone.
See you next week.
We'll sure we'll pick another interesting subject to talk about. All right. So see you later.
All right. Take care. Bye.